Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People's Show. Check the post Nation. Brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, the national debate can end. The online firestorm of arguments can end. People going head to head, toe to toe, blow for blow. The steel cage matches can end. Scott Frost is going to be coming back next year as our head football coach under a restructured deal. I do not know the details of that restructured deal at the moment, okay? Now, I have done shows where I was debating, should he be back, should he not, so on and so forth. Since that Ohio State game, I'd had time to kind of process, kind of digest, and actually, this is my gut reaction, if you hadn't put that together, to Scott Frost coming back as Nebraska's football coach for next season. I was all prepared to do a show as to why I thought he should come back. So when I found out that the news had broke that he was coming back, I'm like, I'm prepared to do this gut reaction with some facts, figures, and things of that nature. Now, we're all aware of the abysmal record that Scott Frost has, 15-27 at this point in time as a head coach at the University of Nebraska. Several coaches in the past have been fired with much worse records. We're aware of that. What's interesting is you actually look back through his years at UCF, his 2 years as head coach at UCF, and you add in those records there, he's exactly 34-34 right now at this moment in time as a head football coach. Now, the timing of this announcement makes a lot of sense for two reasons. Number one, okay, people losing is never good, nothing that ever excites anybody, including Husker fans. But people in the state of Nebraska feel a little bit better about the Nebraska football program right now after that Ohio State game with how Nebraska looked. A lot of people thought we were just going to get ran out the stadium. Okay, so the timing of announcing this right now is actually pretty good, because what if we go to Wisconsin and get blown out? What if we go to Iowa and get blown out? Because they're looking for every reason under God's hot sun to bring Coach Frost back. So the timing of this makes a lot more sense than it could have at a different date, since you don't know how those games are going to go. Also, and I know this isn't going to be a large recruiting class, but early National Signing Day, which is pretty much just National Signing Day now, is coming up. And Scott Frost, when he's talking to these recruits, his words are going to mean a little bit more now. All right, so here's some of the reasons that I believed, and I'm happy and agree with bringing Scott Frost back. Number one, I've said it before, so I'll go through this quickly. We have to stop the coaching carousel here at the University of Nebraska, okay? And hopefully Scott Frost can be that guy. So we need to know for absolutely 1,100% for sure if he's the guy or if he's not, if we're ever going to let him go. And right now, you cannot definitively say that. You might have an opinion one way or the other, but we don't know that for sure. Okay, first and foremost, he needs to be the guy that works out. Second of all, if he doesn't, if you're going to bring in another legitimate candidate, you need to be able to say, hey, we gave that guy half a decade. And that's going to give another candidate more confidence that they're going to get a legit opportunity here. Hopefully Scott just works out. The other thing is, you can make a real argument that we're close, that we're really close. Now, we're 3-7, 15-27 since he got here, and it almost sounds ludicrous. Okay, and I almost feel silly saying it. But if you listen to some of these facts and stats, you get the feeling that we're close. The question I have, I don't doubt if we're close. You can see the teams that we played, how we played them, and see that we're close. The question I have is, will we get over the hump? And that's on Scott Frost to figure out. But this year alone, we are playing 9 top 25 teams and 5 teams that have been in the top 10. Now, all of our games up to this point, conference, non-conference, we've drastically outscored our opponents. Yet we're 3-7. How does that happen? How do you score way more points than your opponents, yet have a 3-7 record? You look at the Big Ten specifically. Nebraska has outscored its Big Ten opponents 190-176 so far this season, yet we sit dead last in the Big Ten West at 1-6. Okay, we're close. We're close. A lot of indicators are that we're close. Will we get over the hump is the question. It's a big hump. All right, we've lost these 7 games by a combined 42 points. And if we could just fix one freaking area to start with, how about special teams? Special teams have directly cost Nebraska 37 points this season. Now, you look at ESPN's Football Power Index rankings, and I was surprised to see this. I had to take a double take. We're actually 7th in the Big Ten, which has 14 teams. We're actually ahead of 2 other teams. Now, the Power Index takes into account your win-loss record, your strength of schedule, score of your games, and other things. We're actually ahead of 2 other teams that are 6-3. I don't know. It's just an indicator of that we're close. Will we actually get over the hump? Is this guy making 40,829 million excuses? No, this is how I legit feel. Okay. You look at The defense has been the strength of this team by far. Okay, the special teams has been abysmal. The offense has not consistently moved the ball methodically up and down the field. They're kind of big play or die type offense. That being said, remember a year ago when we couldn't buy a big play? So just look at some of the things that have improved on offense. And we got to be more consistent on offense, starting up front with the offensive line and with the quarterback play. But here are some of the things that have improved. Nebraska has 7 more 60-plus yard plays than we did a year ago. In all fairness, we had 0 a year ago. We have 4 times as many 40-plus yard plays this season as we did a year ago. 16 40-plus yard plays this year, 4 last year. We have nearly 3 times as many 30-plus yard plays as we did a year ago. 29 to 12 when it comes to amount of 30-plus yard plays this year versus last year. And we've doubled the amount of 20-plus yard plays from a year ago, from 30 last year to 60 this year. Okay, now we actually lead the country in 70-plus yard plays with 4, all right? And we're second in the country with 60-plus yard plays, as I mentioned earlier, with 7. So for me, they're looking for any reason they can to bring Scott Frost back. There's reasons to bring him back, okay? The timing of this announcement, as I said before, makes sense. So I agree with this and I'm at peace with it. Now, the question for me is what happens going forward with the assistant coaches. First of all, we need to absolutely hire a freaking special teams coordinator. It has cost us games. And I actually just interviewed one of the greatest kickers in the history of Nebraska football just this morning. We're going to put that interview out in the next couple of days. And he gave me some great reasons beyond what I had even thought about as to why you need a specific special teams coordinator. I'm actually curious. This offensive line has not played well. They've been consistently inconsistent, which I guess is consistency, like I pointed out the other day, in of itself, just the wrong kind. But I'm curious to see, because if you remember when Teddy Prohaska was a left tackle, Turner Corcoran was a right tackle, we actually played pretty well. It was against Northwestern. We wasn't great this year. But these are also young guys. We have 2 freshmen, 2 sophomores, and a junior, not a single senior, and almost all underclassmen, and a couple of freshmen. I'm curious to see, when we have everybody healthy next year, another year of experience, do we actually get better? The potential is there. Can we actually do it? As far as, you look at the quarterbacks coach, we're going into year 5 and going into next year. We really have no idea who the starter's going to be, should be. We don't have a legit backup at this point. We have a backup, Logan Smothers, but other than Luke McCaffrey, if Adrian ever went down, who was the guy that we could truly get behind and believe? Going into year 5, that's hard to defend. But for me, those are show topics for another day to keep your eye on. For me, it's time. Okay, I'm saying that I agree with Scott Frost coming back. I've been back and forth on this. Okay, I like the timing of this announcement. I've advocated for why we're close, but now, these last 2 games, I want to see how we do. I want to see how we do. It's going to be very interesting. But next year, it's time. I don't want to hear any more words from the pulpit, okay, AKA the press conference. All that matters is what happens on the field. I support this, but it's up to Coach Frost, a guy that I want to work out, to figure it out. It is now time. He's been given every opportunity. Let me know your thoughts, Husker Nation. Until then, go big, Red Nose. Remember, throw the bug.
Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.